Shaka's smart seat continues to grow hotter. Recurring guest Sean Mapes joins the show, and we battle through a 5-minute long fire drill and break down the Super Bowl, NBA trade deadline, and have a brand new segment on the show. Then we'll get to National Signing Day. It's a little bit more low-key than in the past, but talk about those, talk about the recruits Texas is going to go after, and of course, as usual, close the show off with the fun fact of the week. So let's get started. All right, so welcome in to the Thomas Fitch Show presented by 1-0 Sports. I'm your host, Thomas Fitch. Let's get to some Texas basketball to start off the show. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Texas sucks. Obviously the last show we were talking about, Texas defeats Kansas. It was at home, and I said, that was a good win, but if Shaka wants to prove that he's legit, he's going to have to win on the road. Then what happens? Horns go on the road playing Iowa State and lose what was really just an ugly game, 65-60. And, it was back to normal Texas. Poor shooting. You look at what they shot from the field, 39% from the field, 26% from the three-point line. Just abysmal shooting performance. And one of the most unfortunate things about the game is Texas actually had a chance to win. Iowa State really gave Texas a lot of chances. Was not Iowa State's best game by a long. You look at what they shot, 42% from the field, 38% from the three-point line. But just another example of, Shaka can win some big games, and it feels a lot like with Charlie Strong. He can win some big games, but he can't go on a run. He can't win multiple games in a row, and can't win on the road. And the road struggles, that's big because the Big 12 tournament, I know Big 12 tournament and NCAA, I know they're technically neutral sites, but I'm counting them as road games. And if you can't win on the road in conference play, you're never going to be able to win on the road in the NCAA tournament. And at this point, I don't know if Texas can make the NCAA tournament. When you look at their schedule, Horns now at 12-10. Baylor this week, that's at home, so that would be big for them to win. But Baylor's on a hot streak. They've won some 6 games in a row, I believe. Then you travel to West Virginia, who not having the best season, but it doesn't matter. It's playing West Virginia. Bob Huggins on the road. Home at K-State. Home against Oklahoma State. Those are must wins. At Oklahoma will be tough. At Baylor will be tough. At Tech. And then you have a game at home against Iowa State. Home against TCU. I just don't see Texas winning enough games to make it to the tournament. I know I said last week for them to do that, what they would need to do was, to some extent, probably win 4 or 5 more games in conference and win a game or 2 in the tournament, the Big 12 tournament. At this point, I just don't see that happening. There's definitely a chance in the future that it happens, but right now, it's unlikely. So that just puts Shaka more and more on the hot seat because they're so unlikely to make the tournament. And I've said this, for them to for Del Conte to keep Shaka around, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to make the tournament. And at this point, I just don't think that's possible. Things could change though. You go back to football season when after the Tulsa game, and Texas was 1-1, could barely beat Tulsa, and I said things don't look good, but they can change. It's college sports. Anything can happen, but when I look at this team, I just don't see anybody that's going to step up enough. I don't see anybody that's going to shoot consistently enough. I don't see a team that can be disciplined enough down the stretch to win enough games and make the tournament, quite frankly. And so because of that, I think Shaka's gone. Looking at coaches to replace him, some names that pop out. Chris Beard, I think, would be a number one option. He's went to UT, coaches at Tech now, done a good job with the Red Raiders there. I'm sure he would love to come back. It depends on, obviously how much money Tech offers him, how much desire he has in the Texas job. But it would be big because he already has an inside track in in-state recruiting. He knows this state. He knows what it's like to play in the Big 12. And so it's not a huge transition. Whereas even if you were to be able to somehow land a guy like Jay Wright or Tony Bennett at Virginia, which I don't think would happen. But even if you were to land a guy like that, it's bringing guys from completely different systems, completely different conferences, completely different states, and saying, hey, now learn how to do that here, and you got to win immediately. And so that's why I like going after a local guy like Chris Beard. Eric Musselman at Nevada is definitely he'll probably get some interest. Though he's coached them well this year. They're a top 15 team. They're a team who beat Texas last year in the tournament. The other name out there, possibly Greg Marshall. I know Texas looked at him back after they fired Rick Barnes and brought in Shaka Marshall, the coach of Wichita State, who's kind of similar to what Shaka was at VCU, kind of the perennial kind of mid-major powerhouse. So we'll see. I know Del Conte has said that he has Shaka's back, but I don't know. If Shaka can't make the tournament, it's just hard to argue for a guy who's only made the tournament 2 out of the last 4 years when you're paying him so much money. So yeah, I think you got to fire him. Anyways, let's get to our interview with Sean Mapes. All right, we now welcome on recurring guest Sean Mapes. Sean, welcome back on the show.
Thanks for having me. I would like to say I'm a crowd favorite, a fan favorite.
Sean is a fan favorite. Let's get started with the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
because it was boring.
Yeah,
there's not much. I mean, my notes they're just 3 bullet points. I mean, it honestly was probably one of the most boring Super Bowls in recent memory.
Yeah, it's right up there for me, at least, with the Seahawks-Broncos one. But that was at least cool just to see a team
dominate.
Just whoop another team's butt.
Yeah.
And the Broncos that year were the best offense in NFL history. And just seeing that made it cooler than just a lot of Johnny Hecker and who was it, Ryan Allen?
Ryan Allen.
Yeah, just some.
Yeah, former Corvallis, Oregon State prospect.
That was a fun one to hear from Tony and Jim.
Yeah, I mean when you look at the quarterback compare, I mean that was kind of what was hyped up was you have the offensive mind of McVay going up against Tom Brady, and both offenses were terrible.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, which side would you say was most surprising?
More surprising?
Yeah.
I guess just seeing Tom Brady get out there and be flustered is not something you normally see. Even because there's that stat heading into the game that they'd only scored 3 points in the previous 8. So, the previous 8 Super Bowls. So really coming out the gate, they're always a little slow.
Right.
But then you always are kind of waiting for that turn when it turns into
where Brady kind of turns it on.
28-3 and they're unstoppable.
Yeah.
So just seeing Wade Phillips, former Houston Texan defensive coordinator.
Seeing the Cowboys too.
Whatever.
I'm having fun with that.
But yeah, seeing him be able to coach up those guys, and even it's actually pretty crazy that Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald, the two kind of main cogs in the Rams defense, they didn't have that big of a game. So even to have those guys get neutralized, you had Littleton playing a good game. Ebicamp was pretty good. Marcus Peters was about as good as Marcus Peters can get.
As he can get, yeah.
Tlaib was awesome. So really just seeing how the whole team, it wasn't just if in an alternate universe you would think the Patriots only scored 13 points.
Right.
Aaron Donald must have torn apart.
Right.
No, the offensive line for the Patriots is good. Just they just couldn't make the plays, and Tom Brady just didn't seem to have it. Yeah.
He sailed some throws.
Mm-hmm.
Goff kind of did the same too, where just kind of some really wobbly passes over the middle.
Goff definitely took him a little while to kind of get his sea legs a little,
which is more understandable for a guy who's never been in a game like
24.
this.
Yeah, who I got to see live
Oh.
at DKR when he beat Cal,
I did
or
too.
when Cal beat.
Was that the
Texas.
missed field goal?
Yes,
extra
by
point.
Rose.
Who is playing for the San Antonio Commanders?
Wow.
Alliance of I think I'm gonna make the Thomas Fitz show like an Alliance of American Football podcast.
I mean,
Maybe get sponsored.
I mean,
hit
sure.
me up, Alliance. Somebody tag him at Alliance of American Football. I don't know what they're.
I think it's at AAF.
Tag him. Somebody
American
tag him at AAF.
American AF.
Get me sponsored. I'll talk
Or
about
Alliance
them.
AF, I guess.
Okay, something. Look him up. Tag him. Sponsor us. But yeah, I mean, going into the game, and honestly, like back in the regular season, I didn't even think the Rams were going to make it to the Super Bowl. I was saying Saints because of the experience.
Yeah.
And clearly the experience showed up, even with McVay. I mean, McVay said after the game, he was like, I felt numb with the play calling.
Yeah, definitely the Rams. Definitely were the better team against the Saints. Definitely beat them clean and fair.
And square.
Yep.
That's
one of those where you're right. It was just the wrong result.
That's true.
That's
completely
pick,
true.
Wrong game.
Right.
But yeah, just one thing about McVay is that his age is such a big talking point.
Right.
But I really think that we're not talking about the right thing about his age. So he's like
33.
Yeah, he's 8 years
half of Belichick's age.
and 8 years younger than Tom Brady.
Right.
You don't, if he was a player, like Jared Goff, a young player in his second year, you would think that, all right, this is early.
Yeah.
But he can still develop.
Yeah.
But you already have people being like, "Oh, McVay got exposed. check this."
That's true. You don't hear people saying that about Goff. You don't hear people saying that about like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, look at this young guy."
Yeah, or Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
Trubisky. Just Trubisky a little. You hear a little bit more, but McVay is not a finished product because he is
right.
I forgot what this thing was. I think he was 1 year old when Belichick coached his first Super Bowl as DC of the
He hadn't even
Saints.
been born. Well, maybe I don't know. I did the stats last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, or the year he was born was 85, 86.
Yeah.
When Belichick won his first Super Bowl.
Yeah. So if you think about the
Right.
kind of experience deficit he's operating at, I think you can't say enough about how good this guy is, which is weird to say after they only scored 3 points.
Right.
And obviously, I'm not saying he coached a great game. He said he got out coached.
Exactly.
You put up 3, you want a little bit more. But
yeah, well, that kind of brings me to the next point: is will the Rams be back? And it sounds like what you're saying is absolutely.
Yeah, like the McVay Rams.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, it's obviously hard to say. Like you can't.
You can't guarantee anything. There's
yeah.
injuries. There's personnel changes.
I mean, the Oklahoma City Thunder, sorry, Thomas, but in 2012, we were thinking, Heat Thunder, that's the finals for the next 6 years.
Right.
Like, no, it wasn't. So, obviously, you can't just, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, the Rams, no doubt, print the T-shirts. But,
yeah, I think the thing is, the difference between, saying, a team like the Thunder and a team like the Rams. When you think about the Rams and you're like, who's the star of the Rams? It's McVay.
Yeah.
It's not Goff. It's not been Gurley. I mean, Gurley kind of it's just been the way that he's been coaching and the play calling and everything.
Yeah, it's not a thing of McVay can make Goff good.
Right.
Like Goff is, I think, a fine quarterback. He has a killer arm. He's just a little late on everything. So if things aren't going according to plan, he's a little late. You saw it on that breakup.
Late
I think
all night.
it was McCourty, one of the McCourtys.
To Cooks in the end zone.
Yeah. That was one where if he threw it, half second earlier, that's a touchdown.
And different game. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. But yeah, so I think. If he can take Goff, who's young, maybe Goff even gets better, and McVay, grows with him, and they kind of develop a kind of chemistry almost, coach quarterback. I think that this team is. I mean, if you're a Rams fan, you're not like, oh, that was our shot. You still, I mean, on the other side of the ball, you got Aaron Donald, best defensive player in the game. Maybe Khalil Mack. I don't know. Get at me. But
regardless,
I mean, if you have one of the top 2 guys, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
But so I definitely think they obviously have like Talib and Seuss, a couple older guys on shorter deals, but they're not the main pieces. You can always kind of supplement. It's hard to get Gurley, Goff, and Donald, and with a great coach. It's hard. It's harder to do that than to find another Ndamukong Suh at 34 years old.
Exactly. Last little thing we can touch on with the Super Bowl before we get to the NBA trade deadline, but is this Brady's last ring, or are we just gonna have to be betting on them until he retires?
I mean, I already like my favorite to win the Super Bowl next year is the Patriots. I'm just gonna do it every year. I kind of talk myself out of it. Like as we get closer, I'm like, Mahomes can sling it, or like, whatever. If the Steelers can put it all together, they can get a defense out there. But I think, at this point, was it 4 Super Bowl trips in 5 years? That's pretty good, man.
And I will say this. I mean, we talked about all the young quarterbacks who are going to continue developing.
Yeah.
And are Mahomes is gonna be better next year. Watson better. Trubisky, Goff. But
Mahomes was a D Ford standing 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. She was that close to
being in the
Brady.
Super Bowl.
So obviously, the margins are thin, but with just the infrastructure they have, it's hard to see. They're just so much better at like everything than everyone else.
Yeah.
So I say, and if he's serious about playing until he's 45, that's what, 3 more years?
Yeah.
4 more years?
3 or 4. I think 4.
3 or 4. So, in the next 4 years, he might get to 3. Like, who knows?
It's possible. All right, let's talk NBA trade deadline tomorrow at 3.
Yep.
Most recent trade is Clippers and Sixers agreed to trade Tobias Harris, Boban, former Spur, the man with the hands of a giant and the body of a giant.
And Keanu Reeves' co-star in John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum.
Yeah, Mike Scott. I think is that an assistant coach?
Michael Scott.
Michael Scott. For Landry Shamet, I think that's also an assistant coach. Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, definitely an assistant coach.
He's a grad assistant.
Grad assistant. They're also giving up 2020 first rounder and 2021 unprotected first. That's Miami's that they traded for.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
And 2 second rounders. So giving up a lot. Yep. Basically, it's Tobias Harris for a bunch of draft picks.
Yep, and Tobias Harris, free agent after this season. Whenever a team gives up this much for a guy who's a expiring free agent, you kind of expect a little wink, Chris Paul deal. You kind of I don't think Paul George had it at OKC, but obviously that worked out.
Right.
So I think. It looks right now. It doesn't look great that gave up. That Miami pick is going to be awesome. Unprotected 2021. Look at that team.
Right. That's prime position for a top pick.
Yeah. So and also that might be like when Pat Riley's gone.
Yeah.
So and there's talk that Spo might go into a front office position. He might do that and coach.
Right.
But you definitely. You're not thinking that's a 20s pick. That's probably going to be a lottery pick. So Clippers to get that. Obviously, they're in the 8th seed, I think, right now, or they're battling out in the 8th seed.
We've gone into a warning. We're just going to keep going through this. This is, I forget they do this on like once a month on Wednesday, but we're professionals here. We can work. It's just a warning. Don't worry for those listening. They're testing the emergency services.
We'll be safe.
We're preprepared.
Although
we're locked in this podcasting studio.
No way out. 2 men in there.
Okay, so the Sixers is a little distracting. But the Sixers getting Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
Now you look. You got Simmons, you got Redick, you got Harris, Embiid. Like, is this? Are they they're fifth in the East right now? The beeping continues. They're 5th in the East. Are they favorites now? We're struggling to keep it together.
Yes. No, they're. I think I have. In the Sean Mapes power rankings, I think I have Toronto. I still like Toronto a little bit more, just because of Kawhi.
Right.
And they have Danny Green. They have guys that have been there, and they have a pretty good 8-man, 9-man rotation.
Right. I'd say they're deeper than the Sixers.
Definitely, they're deeper before the trade, and they're definitely deeper after, because they traded two and a half guys that are in the rotation. Muscala is in the rotation, but shouldn't be.
Right.
So they're a little bit more thin, but luckily that's kind of the easiest thing to get in the NBA is to get more guys like that are like the eighth guy.
Right.
So, but they're 5-man with Redick, Embiid, Simmons, Butler, now Tobias.
Yeah.
I mean, that's up there with anyone's 5 except for the Warriors.
Right.
Everyone in the real NBA, not in the Warriors.
Yeah. A couple other trades. Nothing. I mean, obviously, still waiting on the Anthony Davis trade. You have the Lakers did make a smaller trade. They traded Reggie Bullock, or they got Reggie Bullock from the Pistons. They got Svi Mykhailiuk, former Kansas star.
Yeah, Jayhawk, the Ukraine maker.
Marcus Gasol has been rumored to move to Charlotte. Michael Jordan. It's always fun. Like whenever I just see like Michael Jordan wants to make the playoffs, I'm like, oh yeah, he's like
the owner.
Still doing stuff in the NBA. We'll see what happens there. But I want to talk AD real quick.
Go for it.
Who did the Lakers blow this trade, or did the Pelicans, who messed up? Because obviously you had the Lakers offering like their whole team. I mean, it was Lonzo, Kuzma, Ingram,
Ball, or Hart, Zubac.
Yeah, and 2 first-rounders.
And KCP.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Pelicans are like, that's not enough. We want 4 first-rounders.
Yeah, man.
That's insane.
Definitely if they don't get, it's one of those things where it puts the Pelicans in a hard spot now after that trade leaks that, if they don't get that trade from the Lakers or if they don't get, Tatum and a couple killer picks from Boston, then it's like, well, that's a worse trade than what the Lakers were willing to give up. That's crazy. I would say that if the Lakers actually made that trade, that it's not a great, obviously, you just get Anthony Davis and LeBron and figure the rest out.
Right.
But I can't. This is the longest test ever.
Usually when they do it, it's like 2 minutes. I mean, this is a test. I'm like, I get it. We can hear it.
God. I'm doing my best.
Keeping it together, real professional. This is practice.
But really the only way I'm sorry. The only way the Lakers get AD is that if Dell Demps, GM of the Pelicans, for those who don't know, if he feels like he might not be able to make the trade in May or June, because he got fired from his job.
Yeah.
Then he might want to make the deal now. Yeah. And then he can say at the end, when he's in the meeting at the end of the year fighting for his job, he can say, "Look, I got Ingram and Kuzma and Ball." And that's actually it's a weird thing where now I feel like Kuzma, and the Lakers guys are a little underrated now.
Right.
Where Ingram's pretty good. He's pretty good. He has basically the same numbers as Jason Tatum has this year.
Yeah. Who the Celtics said they wouldn't trade just Tatum for AD.
Yeah. That's.
So I have to think the Pelicans. I mean, they were offered so much.
Yes.
They could have rebuilt their roster, had 2 first-round picks, and they were like, that's not enough.
Yeah, more please.
Yeah.
Also, my favorite part of this trade is Solomon Hill being salary dumped, and the Lakers are like, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll figure it out later. That's definitely whatever. That's just the best. It's gonna be one of those things. Again, for I feel like every year in college I've had a class on trade deadline day, except for maybe my freshman year. I've had a class at 3:00, right when all the trades go down. So
that's when you just gotta pretend type you're looking at the notes and you got Twitter.
Last year I was losing my mind when it was 7 different tweets and every time it was the Cavs were trading more of their players.
Yeah. Oh, we were doing I was doing a podcast right before that, and we're like, okay, so Cavs just flipping their teams. That's a really weird sound coming from up above. I hope that audio comes in, because that was an all-time 12 minutes of emergency testing. I think it works.
I can report everything's fine. No one's gonna sleep through that.
All right, let's move on to a new segment.
Yep.
Borrowing a little bit from Pardon My Take.
Borrowing, yes.
Borrowing
a lot.
Yeah, but it's
we'll give it right back.
Yeah. Just briefly borrowing it. But it's a little different because we're kind of like merging everything. Yeah. We're doing Guys on Chicks, and we're in Guys on Chicks. We're gonna have a Mount Rushmore, and the way this is gonna work is Sean and I are gonna give our answers. We just looked up a bunch of for those of y'all who don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, let me give a look.
Chicks.
So basically, I just in Pardon My Take, they have people like. They have girls like give them questions that they want the guys to answer. What I did is I looked up like questions guys have about girls.
Okay.
And I just kind of took the best ones. So Sean and I are going to answer them.
Yep.
Then we're going to give our Mount Rushmore where we do our like top 4, and I'll give those categories in a little bit. And then next week, we're going to have Emily Stone, Danny Perez come on. They're hosting a new 1-0 podcast called Whistles and Wine. And basically are going to grade us on how good we do and how good our answers are.
Yep.
It'll be a little Valentine's Day special. So let's get started. First question. Does the way a guy spits game actually attract you more to him? I say yes. I like if he can come in there and like be super smooth.
Yes. Yeah.
And as a guy who's not smooth and who tries to be smooth, I don't know. In my mind, I think the answer is definitely yes.
Yeah. Also, like, I just love the term "spitting game." Like, that's just such a weird phrase, "spitting game."
Right.
I don't know. And I kind of drew back a little when I heard that because normally I think of spitting game as like kind of cheesy and like
just like kind of pickup lines.
Yeah, you have slick back hair. No offense to anyone out there with slick back hair, I guess. But yeah, I definitely do think that when you do it right, it works.
Yeah. That's true, because there's definitely a way to do it right and a way to do it wrong. You know, because there's like the creepy,
things.
Like, you know, you walk up to the bar, you just like start talking out of nowhere.
Yes.
You got to have an in.
Yep.
And it's got to be fluid. And if you could do that like smoothly, I think that's important.
Yeah. Honestly, the like kind of whatever introduction doesn't even have to be that good as long as it's fluid and with confidence. I think.
Okay, confidence is big, I think.
I
think.
I'm not sure. Do you guys think confidence is good? Yeah, definitely confidence. Yeah, that's a big one.
All right, this is an age-old question. Why do girls go to bathrooms in groups?
I always assume that it's to talk trash about people that aren't going with them to the bathroom.
Right. That's what it is. It's just like I want to talk about these people.
Yes.
But I can't.
Yes. You, and you. Let's go. You, and you stay.
Well, and in the perfect world, you know, you have a little group of girls, group of guys. The girls go to the bathroom, so the girls have their time to be like, all right, I'm going for this guy. Like, it's a game plan time.
Yes.
And they understand that in the bathroom, they're giving the guys outside a chance to game plan.
Yes.
And so it's like the perfect system of. That's what it's about.
Yes.
It's all about establishing the game plan.
I will say, though, I feel like the girls probably use the game plan time better than the guys do, having been in the guys' game plan meetings.
Right. I've never been in the girls' plan meetings, but I can assume.
I mean, because basically the guys' game plan meeting is maybe a little bit of like, hey, you know, what do you think about blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then it's also probably going to be like the last 2 segments we had where it's like, Sean McVay, what do you think?
It devolves really quickly, and then you're like, oh, man, girls exist. Crap.
Yeah. Oh, God. And they're back.
They're back. Yeah. So I think we broke that one.
Yeah,
well,
we got that one. Killed it.
What's the worst pickup line a guy could use?
Do you want an example?
Yeah. Give examples.
All right. Hold on. Here we go. Hey, you want to do a little role play? I'll be the guy, you be the girl.
Yeah.
Let's do
this. Let's do this.
All right. I can't look at you when I do it. I'm so nervous. Hey, that's a nice shirt you got on.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it'd look even better on my bedroom floor.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah, no, that's.
I think anything.
I felt bad saying it to you.
Anything that's like just like a cliche one.
Yeah,
if you're using a cliche in seriousness, it's like the whole like, oh, does your face hurt? You know, because like, oh, it must have hurt when you like fell from heaven.
I forgot about that one.
You know, like something like that. It's like when you know what if you know it's coming, I think it's cheap. Like it's.
I think if it's not something you thought of,
Right.
it's normally bad.
Right.
If it's something you heard, it's not good.
Now I think there's an extent like if you kind of know someone and it's like a flirty like we both know that we're kidding around.
Yes.
About the pickup line, then it works.
Yes.
But if you're just like going up to a random chick and just being like, "Hey, you Little Caesars, because you're hot and I'm ready," and, you know, something like that, just drop the heat a little bit. It's like no.
Yeah, definitely. If you have that kind of rapport with someone,
right, you can work it in there. But just going up random and dropping a cliche line,
don't do that.
Don't do it.
Just don't.
This is. I'm really interested to see the girls' response next week. What's the right response if you get asked, like, do I look fat? Does this dress make me look fat?
I mean, not
because obviously you don't say yes.
Yeah, no, not yes.
But like, if you say no, they're like, and they're like, I don't know. It's the age-old question.
Yeah, you just say no.
Yeah,
and then
move on.
Maybe work in a compliment somewhere in there.
The wise Sean Mapes giving us the answers.
Go.
This is a good one. Why the big T-shirt? Why do girls always wear big T-shirts?
I don't know.
I think it's an alpha move. Every XL is like, this is how much of an alpha I am. You know, you see a girl walking up in like a double XL, just like hanging down to like her shins. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
She means business here.
Wow. I didn't know Walmart made shirts that big. Yeah, it's definitely one thing I think that like one person started somewhere and then like all of her friends thought of, oh, that's what you do. We can go bigger.
Right.
And then it got out of hand.
Yeah. I agree.
And went international.
Mr. Worldwide. Dale. Why do girls ask questions that they already know the answer to?
I don't know. Well, in law school, I've never been, but this is what I've seen in movies. They always say that, like, lawyers, when you're in the courtroom, you should never ask a question you don't already know the answer to. I think it's because, I think girls do it because I think every girl is basically a lawyer, whether or not.
Yeah, it's true.
And the guys are constantly like being interrogated. Like that's.
It doesn't like guys are. We're so bad when you start like interrogating us. Whether like it could be like we could be in the right. Mm-hmm. We don't know what to say.
Yes.
Because again they're trained lawyers.
Yes.
Like that's.
And we're the people in Law and Order SVU that are like trying to like work at the department store.
Right. And it just doesn't work. I think there's also an alpha move in there too. Like there's nothing like asking a question. Like I feel like teachers will do that too. Like the whole like ask a question. Like they know the answer.
Yeah.
But they just want to see what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a gauging.
It really
just
boils. They're just smarter.
True.
They're just smarter than us.
That's not fair.
They're just dumb.
All right, so let's move on. Okay, so the first Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah.
We can snake this
with two people.
Like 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. I'm already.
Yeah, that was like 17 things. No, why don't we just do pick one, pick one, pick one, pick one.
Okay, and then we'll flip because there's two, and then you'll go.
Yeah. You get the first pick.
There we go.
Whatever, the first one.
Yeah. All right. So the first Mount Rushmore is what we think is the first thing that girls notice.
Yeah.
Guys. In guys. Yes. Sorry. In guys. Thank you. I'm gonna just go with just face. Like what? Like.
Yes.
It's cute face.
Okay. Yeah. They have to look at you in your face.
Like they look up at a guy and they're like, he has a face.
Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely. I'm gonna go kind of with that. I'm gonna go the clothes that person is wearing. That man is wearing.
Is that just like base clothing, or is it like he like knows how to dress?
You definitely get extra points if you know how to dress, but I think you definitely get some points for not dressing like an absolute like garbage man.
Right.
No offense to garbage man. But
yeah,
which is like, funny because that's like as guys, that's what we like generally care the least about.
Right.
Like, it's just. Yeah, is it going to be cold? Okay, I'll put on a jacket.
Put on a jacket, yeah. It's very, very like we dress for the weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like, am I going to work or not?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. All right, so number 2. I'm gonna say smile. That's a big one.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah. That still in the general face area.
Yeah. I mean, but you get like facial structure, and then like the smile. They're like, oh, because a smile is not necessarily something I think you recognize right away because the guy's not always smiling.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that's a big one. All right.
Yeah. Definitely smile. Just fold in teeth with that too. I feel like if you if you don't, most of this is like if you have jacked up teeth, it's kind of points against you.
Yes.
But having nice teeth isn't exactly points for you.
No, but it doesn't hurt. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, what are you taking number 2?
Number 2, I'm gonna go kind of in your neck of the woods with hair.
Okay. Yeah. That's a big one.
And again, that's another one where guys, we don't condition or anything.
Nope.
Try to use. I mean, if they can make like 7-in-1 soap, like we would just use
exactly. Head and shoulders does.
Shout out to Head and Shoulders.
Sponsor us.
Cha-ching.
Somebody tag them.
But yeah, definitely having having hair, I feel like is a plus.
Yeah.
And then in general, I'll ask my dad. Bang.
Boom roasted.
Yeah, Rick Mapes, take that. But yeah, having nice hair.
Yeah. All right, number 3, I'm gonna go with build. Like, I think it varies for person because like some people are into like the dad bod. Some people want like super jack guys. Some people just like are like, oh, he like cares enough that like he stays trim.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not gonna say a specific because I think it varies.
Yes.
But I think everybody has their certain build.
That's very body positive. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go. See, I have one that's pretty close to that, so I won't infringe on that. I was just gonna say height, but I feel like that kind of goes in with I mean,
I know. I think height's different. I think height's
okay.
Well, I think you can say height.
I won't say height because I have another one.
Okay.
This is a little like game theory of like I'm saving my last one for I know you won't. I know.
Okay.
Well, chances are you won't say it, but I'm gonna go with voice. For my third pick.
That's a good one.
Both, I feel like if you have a deeper voice, you definitely get some extra points.
Yeah.
And then just in general, kind of how you talk, like with the like kind of confidence in your, if you're not like muttering or like,
Yes.
If you can just speak up.
Yeah. Deeper voices.
I mean,
really big. Okay, I think you stole my confidence because I think that confidence in the way you speak, I think that's big. I'll go with eyes.
Okay.
Really, the facial region here.
Do you got a nice face?
But like, I mean, honestly, that's if we're saying the first thing you notice, it's pretty much physical characteristics. And I think I was gonna say confidence, like, but since you took that, I think I'll go with eyes.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, and this is my percent. We don't know.
You'll find out next week.
Find out next week.
And get the right answers.
Tune in.
Get the right answers next week.
Exactly.
And so for my last one, I'm going to go, it's probably not the first thing girls notice. I kind of realize I've kind of gone away a little bit from the first thing.
Yeah.
But how nice your car is, I feel like is kind of a subtle one. Maybe it's once you already... are on the first date. First time she sees your car, there's an instant judgment there. Yeah. You can't lie.
Yeah.
And
I hear Hyundai Elantras is a really like if a guy is driving like just throwing out a color bronze Hyundai Elantra, I hear like that's like they're like whoa.
Yeah, they're
like he's an Elantra.
Wow,
guy.
That's dependable.
Ooh, dependable. Gas efficient.
Yeah. And that kind of that leads me into a story.
Oh boy.
From my youth.
Okay. Story time with Sean Mapes.
Yeah. So I was 17 at the time.
Sounds like it.
The year was 2013. And so yeah, I had just gotten a new car, 2011 Honda Accord.
Ooh.
It was a big step up from my first car that I got when I was 15. My 1999 forest green Nissan Maxima.
Oh yeah.
With a gray hood.
Wow, the dual color.
Yeah. Oh,
that's dangerous.
Like a race car. Race cars. Yeah. So. Straight from Japan in 1999. Quick, what year were you born?
98.
Oh, okay. So my car could have been the same class as you were, but I was driving it to school.
Wow.
And so, yeah, after I got the new, the Honda Accord, I had a lady friend.
Oh.
Not to brag. I had a girlfriend.
We'll flex. Congrats.
And I was joking about, would you have dated me if I was still driving the crappy car, thinking like
she'd be like, "Oh no." Yeah.
I was thinking it was a joke.
Right.
And she said with like the most like sincerity I've ever heard.
Oh no.
No, probably not.
Wow.
Yeah, things didn't work out with her.
Wow.
Don't know why.
That's the ultimate like those those videos that go viral where the guy like asks out a girl and she's like no, and then he like unlocks a Lamborghini and she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you had that kind of a thing."
Yeah, except it was with the Honda Accord. But I think just going from
that's a step up.
It was the jump.
Yeah,
not necessarily where I landed.
Yeah. All right.
And that was story time.
That's great story time. Good explanation of that.
Yeah, I felt like I needed to explain.
All right, so the last Mount Rushmore's, and I'll let you start on this one.
All right.
Of ways that we think girls are like the signs where you're like, okay, this is a good sign she's into me.
Okay, so my first pick, if they compliment anything about you.
Okay. Yeah.
Just anything.
Yeah.
Like just like, hey, you have nice handwriting.
Okay.
Like, oh, she must be into it.
Yeah.
That's
a big one.
I
That's
feel
a
like,
big one.
and just as guys, don't always get compliments.
No.
So,
All right, my number one. I was glad you didn't take this.
okay.
The arm touch.
Oh yeah,
That anytime they're reaching out,
I felt something.
you
when
felt a
just
little
did that.
connection
Yeah,
there.
I was
After that pickup line.
like,
Yeah, no, that the arm touch is big.
yeah.
That's like ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right, number two.
Number two, I'm gonna go with they start conversations with you.
Yeah.
Like one-on-one conversations where you don't have to initiate it.
Yep.
Little thing.
And you're saying like text, real life, snap, like anything. Yeah.
Anything, just anytime the conversation starts with her.
Yeah, that's good. I would say my number two is just like general interest in something that like of something that you do.
Shared interest.
No. I'm saying like they're interested in something that you do that they like. If they weren't into you, like they wouldn't care.
Yes.
Like if you like have a Matchbox collection, just make it. I don't. Pull it out of it. But like if you have like a Matchbox collection and they're like wanting you to tell them more about it. Like, that actually could be a good test.
Yes,
like, just make up something really boring. And like if they're still interested in it,
yes.
it's like they clearly like you.
I got
because
you
nobody cares about your Matchbox collection. For those of you who collect Matchbox cars, it's cool, but like I did that when I was 10.
When you're
not a Matchbox car collector positive.
When you're talking about stuff that you know that she doesn't care about,
and they're like still
at least
and they're like asking you questions. You're like, I wouldn't ask myself questions on this.
Really, you want to know more about Manu Ginobili? Okay. So third pick, I'm gonna go liking your post on social media.
Yeah,
just pictures definitely a bonus.
Yep.
But just anything, it's kind of the millennial version of the arm touch.
Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna for number three. I'm gonna take it a step further.
Oh,
I'm gonna say commenting.
Oh yeah,
because liking that's big.
Yeah,
somebody kind of like follows you first. You're like, okay, there's some interest. But if they're commenting on the pictures, that's because that shows a level of comfort.
And in general, if they this isn't a pick, but just kind of bouncing off of what you said. Just in general, when they when you're talking to them in person, and you don't have them on Snapchat or whatever, when they make the effort,
if they initiate that,
that's another
big.
one.
That's big. That kind of goes. I think that kind of falls in with liking.
Yeah,
it's kind of like overall, like on social media, they're interacting with you. Yeah. All right. Are we on number 4?
Yeah, this is my last one.
Okay.
This is another one that's probably a little bit
a little out there.
No. It's just more under the radar.
Okay.
It's if they know your name without you telling them.
Oh, that is
Think
good.
about that.
That's good.
Yeah. So if you know that it works like if you're in class together and you know like my name hasn't come up that often in class, or if you're with a group of friends and you didn't actually introduce yourself to her, but she comes up to you and which is starting conversation, but it's also like, hey, what's up, Thomas?
Yeah, that's big. That's big. All right, my last one. Oh, what do I want to go with? Honestly, I think when you move from the side hug to the front hug, that's a big step up. Because side hug is just very like friendly. Hey, I know like you exist, I exist. We're acknowledging that.
Okay.
When you move from the side hug to the front hug, especially if you like start off with the front hug. But if you're moving from like that means that you've progressed.
Yeah, starting at the front hug doesn't means less than starting from the side hug
and moving up. Yeah,
got it. It's the promotion aspect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think a couple things that we didn't miss. We'll go on honorable mentions.
Okay. Yeah.
I think just like generally just like going out of their way to spend time with you. I think kind of relates to like the being interested in stuff that doesn't make. But like if they're going out of their way to like spend a lot of time with you, and they're like you're like I'm doing this, and like, oh, I should come. I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. I actually used all my
used up all yours.
Yeah, I
didn't.
I didn't really
steal
have
any of yours.
No. I mean, I used height. That was kind of my bonus one, but I already talked about it.
Yeah.
It's just mainly it's another thing of like if you don't have it, it's worse than having it.
Yeah,
it's worse than having it is good.
Right.
You know?
Right. One thing we didn't talk about is like texting back right away.
Yeah,
but I think that's because I feel like we've almost become like our society. Let's get to like deep. No, it's not deep. But like it's got to the part where like responding too quick is almost a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just be like immediately texting back. You want to give some space.
Yeah, you definitely have to let it simmer a little bit. You definitely. Do you think anyone, unless it's like an urgent situation, actually texts back like the first time they see the text? Like if you're on your phone, the little text thing pops down.
Unless
you
it's
don't
urgent.
Stop what you're doing.
Yeah. Honestly, and if they do, that's almost like because you want them to be thinking about it, like thinking about a response. Like when I'm like texting with someone, I'm like I'm trying to say the perfect thing. You can't think of the perfect thing immediately. It takes a little time.
Yeah. Well, we can't.
We can't. That's true.
Again,
I forget we're different and we're dumb. We're dumb.
All right. So next week.
Yeah. So next week, make sure you tune in. Emily and Danny are going to be grading us and
crowning a winner.
Maybe.
I'm not competitive, but are we crowning a winner?
Well, I basically they'll just be like, I think it'll be like I'll show them a clip and then we'll cut back and they'll be like, no, or they'll be like, yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
So especially for like you guys out there who like are like us and we're like, oh no. Tune in and find out the real answers to these questions. Find out the real answers.
But I do feel like, for all the kids out there that listen to TFS, all the kids out there, I think they definitely learned a little something from the guys' perspective.
The guys,
I think that definitely helps. And
girls listening to this can learn the way the guys think.
Yes, we opened the dialogue.
We did. We're good for us.
We're causing social change.
We are. That's the camera.
Can you just...
causing social change here. I'm just going to hold up. You know what? This is just going to... There we go. Causing social change here on the Thomas Fitz Show. So much... this is how much of an impact we're having. We're causing earthquakes. They're like, whoa. Here are two guys promoting dialogue between guys and girls, bridging the divide.
Yep.
This is what America needs, the Thomas Fitz Show.
Amen.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, Sean.
It's good to be here.
All right, so let's get to some National Signing Day coverage, and then we'll finish up with fun fact of the week. So looking at National Signing Day, definitely a lot more low-key than it's been in the past because of the early signing period. Only big name really to watch for with Texas today is Javon Shepard. He's announcing about at 1, so probably by the time this is up, he'll announce if he's – or not announce, he'll decide where to sign. He's committed to Texas. Feels like a hard commit. I have a strong inclination he'll stay with Texas. But even if he was to flip, Texas would still finish with a top 3 class, according to Rivals and 24/7. Obviously, getting Brew McCoy was huge for that. But because it's a National Signing Day is a lot smaller than it has been in the past. And, there was I believe it was Dana Holgerson said, in the past on National Signing Day, it's wake up at 6, start calling people, try to really work on, it's a stressful day. He said, today I slept in because, most teams except for 1 or 2 players have finalized their class. And that's the benefit of the early signing period. And Tom Herman does this well, is he gets as much of his class to sign in the early signing period, and then he's already moved on to 2020. And so let's go ahead and look at what Texas is looking at in the class for 2020. First is, I'll just kind of go down the line. These are guys that are kind of crystal balled, kind of favoring Texas in some way. The first name, this would be a huge get for Texas. Zachary Evans, 5-star running back, number 2 overall player in 24/7 Sports, Houston guy. It's still early, and all these crystal ball predictions will most likely change. Right now, 50% crystal ball A&M, 33% UT. That will certainly be a huge recruiting battle. Number 1 player in the state of Texas. So definitely will be a big battle between Texas and A&M for Evans. It would be a huge get. He's gotten a lot of good comparisons. A lot of people think he's going to be a star. So that's somebody to watch. Keely Ringo is a 5-star cornerback from Arizona, number 10 overall player in per 24/7 Sports, number 2 overall cornerback. Right now he's 50-50 crystal ball with UT and Washington State. Not Washington State, Washington, the Huskies. But it would be big for Texas to get him because it would show, obviously, you look at Texas getting Jake Smith, Braden LeBrock from Arizona this past recruiting cycle. To be able to get Keely Ringo, too, would show that Herman's doing a good job of establishing recruiting bases in other states. Moving down, Chris, so you have 3 safeties, Chris Thompson, Darius Snow, and Bryson Washington, all 4 stars, number 5, 6, and 7 overall safeties in the nation, all Texas guys. All guys that Texas is favored for right now. Wouldn't surprise me. You got Craig Navar, safeties coach at Texas, who's done a fantastic job so far. You look at the guys he brought in. Obviously, you had B.J. Foster and Caden Stearns tearing it up last season. So it'd be huge to land some of those guys. Moving down, Jaquindon Jackson, who's a 4-star athlete, number 2 athlete in the nation and in the state. Definitely a guy Texas could be going after. They are going after, I should say. You have Bernard Wright, 4-star defensive tackle. He's 100% crystal ball to LSU. But again, it's early. A lot of these predictions are because he hasn't taken all his official visits yet. But he would be huge. It would help because Texas is kind of weak on the D-line right now. Number 7 overall in the state. He's a Texas guy. So that's certainly a guy to look for. And the last guy is Chad Lindbergh, 4-star offensive lineman. Crystal ball right now 100% to Texas. Number 11 ranked in the state. That'd be big because, again, D-line, O-line are both big positions that Texas is trying to boost, and will certainly be looking forward to boost in the next class. All right, so let's finish off the show with a fun fact of the week. This is a fun one. I pulled this up when Sean Mapes was still here, and we had a fun laugh about it. So this one comes from at Televista TV. Don't exactly know who they are, but it says home of telenovela. So their fun fact says, #fun fact. The term quirky alone means someone who is single and does not feel the need to date for the sake of it. Basically what this means is someone who's single and keeps getting rejected, and they're like, no, it's not that I'm getting rejected. I just choose to be single. And then Sean and I were talking about this. We're like, if you're a dude, you don't choose to be single. You pursue people and you get rejected. You're not choosing that. You're not doing the choosing here. So I do love how in our culture we've basically created a word for people who are like, yeah, a bunch of girls say no to me. So that's it. That's our show. Make sure you go like, subscribe, comment, all the millennial things that millennials do. Helps me out a bunch. And make sure to tune in next week when we have Emily Stone, Danny Perez, hosts of Whistles and Wine, coming on to break down how Sean Mapes and I did in Guys on Chicks. That's all we got, though. From the Thomas Fitch Show, I'm Thomas Fitch. Hook 'em horns. Let go of everything.